Terrain pull up. Colgan Airflight 9446 is flying over Yarmouth, Massachusetts. At first, everything looks good, but something's wrong. Purling, Steve, hold on. The pilots are struggling to control the plane. With each passing second, the aircraft descends, and their attempts to correct it fail. Oh no. The pilots try to make adjustments, but it's too much to handle. The plane continues to descend rapidly. Will they regain control, or will they crash into the water below? This is the story of Colgan Air Flight 9446. On Colgan Air Flight 9446, Captain John and First Officer Jane are flying together today, a pair of experienced pilots with plenty of flying hours. Captain John has more than 5,000 hours of flying time, and First Officer Jane, though newer to the airline, shows great skill in the cockpit. Their mission feels simple: a ferry flight with no passengers, just a quick repositioning of the plane from Barnstable, Massachusetts to Albany, New York. The skies are clear and everything seems normal as they cruise through the air, ready for a smooth journey ahead. Colgan Air is a small regional airline that operates under US Airways Express. They're known for flying small planes like the Beechcraft 1900D, which are perfect for short flights with small groups of passengers. Colgan Air has a reputation for safety and reliability. But on this day, the pilots and the airline will face a mistake that no one could have predicted. The Beechcraft 1900D is a small twin-engine plane used for short flights. It's sturdy and dependable, designed to carry up to 19 passengers. On this day, however, it's being flown without any passengers, just the pilots on board. Captain John and First Officer Jane are fully prepared for takeoff. They go over every checklist, check the fuel, inspect the engines, and ensure all flight systems are in perfect working order. Both pilots are in their seats, strapped in, ready for another routine flight. The weather is clear, the sky is calm, perfect conditions for a smooth journey. They roll down the runway, and with a gentle pull, the plane lifts off the ground, climbing into the clear skies above Barnstable, Massachusetts. Captain John: looking good, Jane. Fuel's full, engines are smooth. We're set. First Officer Jane: everything's in the green. Let's get this plane to Albany. The Beechcraft 1900D hums steadily, and the pilots settle into their rhythm. There's no tension in the air. It feels like just another day at work. As Captain John and the First Officer Jane settle into their seats, everything seems normal. They've completed their pre-flight checks, fuel, engines, and controls. All are ready. The flight is routine, and the aircraft is performing as expected. First Officer Jane: everything looks good, Captain. All systems are green. Captain John: perfect. Let's get this plane to Albany. Everything feels smooth. But as the plane climbs into the sky, something doesn't feel right. Captain John notices a slight pull on the controls. Captain John: hold on a sec, Jane. The plane feels a little off. First Officer Jane: yeah, I'm feeling it too. It's like it's not staying level. They're used to occasional small adjustments, but this is different. The aircraft's nose starts to dip, and it's harder to keep it steady. Captain John: this is strange. It's the trim system. The trim is supposed to keep the plane steady, but something's not working right. What is the trim system? Let's understand this. The trim system is a small but important part of the aircraft. It's a mechanism that helps control the plane's pitch. Basically, it helps keep the nose of the plane level without the pilot having to constantly pull on the controls. When the trim system is working, the pilot doesn't have to fight the plane to keep it stable. It's like balancing the plane automatically so the pilot can focus on other things. First Officer Jane: so the trim helps keep the nose of the plane steady, right? Captain John: exactly. Without it, the plane will keep pulling down, and we'll have to use a lot more force to keep it level. And right now, it's not doing its job. The pilots realize that the trim malfunction is causing the nose to pitch it down uncontrollably. Despite their attempts to adjust, the plane feels heavier, harder to manage. Captain John: I'm going to adjust it manually, but the system is fighting me. It's not working the way it should. They continue to fight the issue, but the trim system isn't responding. The aircraft's nose keeps dipping, and despite their efforts, the plane begins to lose altitude. First Officer Jane: this isn't right. We need to fix this before it gets worse. Captain John: we're running out of time. I'll keep trying, but we're losing control. The aircraft's nose continues to pitch down, no matter how much Captain John adjusts the trim. The altitude is dropping faster now, and the altimeter reads dangerously low. The pilots exchange glances, a silent understanding passing between them. They know they're running out of time. Captain John.
We're not going to make it. The trim isn't fixing it. We need to declare an emergency.
First Officer Jane.
I've already told ATC they're ready for us to return, but the plane's just not responding.
The plane is in a slow but steady descent now, and every second feels like a countdown. The pilots try to force the yoke back, but it's no use. The required force is too much, and the aircraft continues to pitch downward like a slow-motion freefall. Captain John.
This is it, Jane. We've lost it.
The situation is serious. Despite all their training, the trim malfunction is so severe that manual adjustments aren't enough to overcome it. The aircraft is heading for a disaster, and there's no way to avoid it now. First Officer Jane.
We need to stay focused. There's still time to, wait. No.
The reality sets in. There's nothing more they can do. The pilots are fully aware that they've hit the point of no return. The altitude continues to plummet, and the plane's controls seem to be slipping further out of their grasp. Every decision made from here on out could be their last. The situation is serious. Despite the pilots' best efforts, the trim system failure has taken full control of the aircraft. With each second, the plane's descent accelerates. The altimeter continues to drop, and the aircraft is no longer responding to the pilot's commands. Captain John?
We're going down. I can't hold it.
The desperation in his voice is clear. He's tried everything he can. The trim adjustments, the manual corrections, nothing works. The aircraft is beyond their control, and the sound of the engines and the wind roaring outside seems to grow louder. First Officer Jane.
Hold on. Just hold on.
But it's too late. The clock has run out. The trim failure has caused the plane to lose its stability, and there's no way to recover from the downward spiral. The pilot's final attempts to stabilize the plane are futile. They both know, deep down, that this is the end. Captain John.
Pull up. Steve, hold on.
The sound of panic creeps into his voice as he desperately tries to wrestle control away from the aircraft. The voice cuts out as the sound of the crash begins to build, signaling the inevitable impact. The cockpit fills with the chaos of alarms and the deafening sound of the aircraft plummeting. Their voices fade into the background, replaced by the horrifying noise of the plane's final moments. The pilot's final words echo, desperate but futile, as the aircraft heads for the water below. With one final, heart-stopping crash, the aircraft slams into the water below. The descent is swift, but the outcome is certain. The fight for control has ended. There's nothing left but the silence that follows the destruction. The water swallows the wreckage, and the world above is left eerily still. The chaos and tension of the cockpit fade, leaving only the haunting calm of what has just transpired. After the crash of Colgan Airflight 9446, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, started an investigation to figure out what went wrong. What seemed like a regular flight ended in disaster, and people want to know, why did this happen? Could it have been stopped? The investigators quickly start looking at the wreckage, trying to find clues that can explain what caused the crash. What they discover is shocking. They recover the black box from the cockpit, which includes the cockpit voice recorder, CVR. This recorder captures the pilot's last words and shows their struggle to regain control of the plane. It also reveals something important, a failure in the trim system, which the pilots couldn't fix. The investigation reveals a major problem during the plane's maintenance. The elevator trim cable, a key part of the plane's flight controls, was installed wrong during a regular check before the flight. This small mistake caused the trim system to fail, making it impossible for the pilots to keep the plane steady. The NTSB also looks at the pilots' actions. They tried to follow the right steps, adjusting the trim manually to fix the problem. But the force required to fix the trim was too much for them to handle. The trim system was too broken to fix, and the pilots couldn't regain control in time. Now, after the crash, the NTSB found out that this accident could have been prevented. The main reason for the crash was a trim system failure, caused by a mistake during the plane's maintenance. What seemed like a small issue turned into a deadly disaster because of a few missed steps. Maintenance. The elevator trim cable was installed incorrectly during a routine check. This caused the trim system to fail, and the plane's nose kept pitching down. The trim system was supposed to help keep the plane level, but it didn't work. The pilots couldn't control the plane properly, and it started descending. The pilots didn't fully check the trim system before takeoff, which could have caught the problem before it got serious. Colgan Airflight 9446 was a tragic reminder that small mistakes can lead to disaster, but it also led to important changes in aviation safety. Thanks to the lessons learned from this crash, Airlines are now safer, and pilots and maintenance crews are better prepared to handle problems. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand the critical importance of safety in aviation. Thanks for watching, and remember, always pay attention to the details.